This is Support is Sexy, episode 39, with weddings consultant and twirlweddings.com founder, Ann Chertoff. Welcome to the Support is Sexy podcast. I'm your host, Elayne Fluker, entrepreneur, author, producer, and founder of Chic Rebellion Media. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I talk to women entrepreneurs who share their journeys and the true stories of their wins and their lessons, and give you insight and inspiration to take your business and your life to the next level. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Support is Sexy. I am so excited to have you here because you know it just would not be the same without you. So today we are welcoming my friend, Ann Chertoff. Ann is the founder of twirlweddings.com, and she is honestly one of the people who knows the most, in my opinion, about weddings. Whenever I know someone getting married, I refer them to Ann. Someone looking for a weddings vendor, I refer them to Ann. She really loves what she does, as you will hear in this interview with her. So Ann shares the importance of having a team as a weddings consultant, as any consultant really, the benefits of finding your niche and one that allows you to do a little bit of everything. Also, the joys of doing what you love. She goes into how the weddings business works and why national magazines are closing and local markets are thriving, which I found very interesting. Also, the truth about wedding reviews, what you need to know, some of her favorite wedding resources, which we include in the show notes on elaynefluker.com, so you can go there and see the places that she recommends and mentions in this episode. And she also talks about her top favorite and least favorite bridal trends and why she's not trying to be super mom. So in this episode, actually, you will hear Ann waiting for her daughter to pick her up from the bus stop. And also in the background, you will hear all that is lovely about Brooklyn. So if there's noise, if there are sirens, if you hear buses and cars, Ann is outside multitasking, speaking to us while waiting for her daughter. And Brooklyn is being Brooklyn. So any noise that you hear in this episode, blame it on Brooklyn. Welcome to New York. But I thank you guys so much for listening. I know you're going to enjoy this. So without further ado, Ann Chertoff. So Ann, thank you so much for joining us on an episode of Support is Sexy. I'm happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me on.
Yay, so I have to ask you the first question I ask everyone. When did you first fall in love with entrepreneurship?
I think I was always interested in creating things, whether it was an idea for an event or a product or something like that. So I don't think I got into it thinking entrepreneur, that's what I wanted to be. I think I just kind of evolved into this person who just likes to create things from scratch.
Now you're originally from Brooklyn, right?
Born and raised.
Born and raised, never leaving, you always say.
Never leaving.
What was Ann like as a little girl? What were you into?
I was always into putting on a party or putting on a show. I remember planning my first party in the 5th grade, though there might have been others. I was into history. I would literally read an encyclopedia every night. I would take one of the volumes. I got them when I was 6, and I would just read it because I was a dork. And I was really into history, and I thought I was going to be a historian or president. Those are what I remember saying in the 3rd or 4th grade.
President of the United States.
Yes, because I liked history and I had read all about the presidents. And then eventually I went into wedding planning and party planning and stuff like that. So it's like being president.
It's exactly, president of the event.
You're dealing with lots of different crazy personalities.
Right. Who or what were your greatest influences growing up?
I don't really know. It's weird because, you think about growing up and it's what influenced you, but you don't really figure that out until you're older. I'd like to say my grandmothers and my mom, because they all worked, which I think was very different for their generations. They were always, I don't want to say they were the hostess with the mostest, but they were always they all worked full time, and then they would come home and dinner on the table and always host the perfect Thanksgiving and holiday and all that kind of stuff. And I definitely looked up to all of them in seeing what they did. My dad was an attorney, and at some point I thought I'd be a divorce lawyer. And so I very much still very close with my dad, and, following kind of intellectual path, always reading the newspaper and learning about what's going on in the world and stuff like that. So I think like the family, element was probably the most inspirational. I don't think there was like some, big name, bold faced personality that I was like, I always, because I didn't grow up with Martha Stewart. By the time she came around, I was in high school. So I read her magazine, but it's not like I grew up being like, I want to be that.
You were influenced by the people around you, which most of us are.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, after attending Midwood High School, you went to the Fashion Institute of Technology in the
Well, I
city.
went to 3 colleges before that, but yes, I ended
Did
up
you?
me and Sarah Palin went to 4 colleges.
Why did you go to 4 colleges? Was that for experience or just because you couldn't decide, or what happened?
There were a lot of different things. The first college was because I could only get into one college because I was such a horrible student. I was always planning the events in high school and not actually going to class. And then, just different things. Like I kept getting A's at the school and I was like, wow, this must be for stupid people because I was like a C- student in high school.
No.
So then, I was, a little homesick. So I went home and I went to Brooklyn College for a little while. Then I, wanted to go away again. So I went somewhere else. And then I wasn't really happy there. So I came back to Brooklyn and my sister was at FIT. And so she's like, I wanted to do PR and events. And so she's like, I think they have a PR and events program. I was like, I'll try it. If I don't like it, I'll just go somewhere else. And I loved it. And so I graduated from there in 2001 and it was great. It was great, especially because I got rid of all my liberal arts at all my other colleges. So I could really just focus on my major.
Right. So it's interesting. I was going to ask you if you were thinking about being a designer, but you were much more still for the events kind of PR side of things.
Yeah, I definitely love like that marketing angle, like, coming up with an idea, figuring out like how to promote it, how to get people in front of it. Back then, it makes you sound like an old person. It's like, I used to walk 10 miles barefoot in the snow to school. It's like back then we didn't have internet, we didn't have email. So it's interesting, the way you promote things today from the way we would learn and how we did it 15, 20 years ago. But yeah, I was always involved in more of like that creative element of it. And, FIT has that design element and the business side of it. And I was definitely on the business side of it.
Now, how did all of that play into the business that you have today and the things that you do today?
Well, the wonderful thing that I really, and it's so strange because some random girl, and I know what she looks like, but I have no idea who she is or what she's even doing today. She said to me one day, she's like, there's a part-time job on the career services board, in a wedding magazine. And I really enjoyed the magazine journalism classes I was taking. And I went into, and I was a marketing major. So I fell into this part-time job and I just loved it. And I think that, being able to try all these different things back then just let me kind of figure out like, okay, I liked editorial, I liked marketing, I liked bridal, and so when I was, when I left the editorial specific field, I was able to take all the experiences from, college and beyond to create a company and a career that'll let me do all the same things I love to do back then that I still love to do today, whether it's, marketing, PR, events, editorial, and weddings, which cover like 30 different categories.
Right. Now, what was a turning point, do you think, that made you figure out, okay, I can turn this into a business or be able to offer this to a lot of other companies, especially around weddings?
Well, it was, it really wasn't a choice. I was part of the massive AOL layoffs when they bought Huffington Post in early 2011. And I had to work. I had 2 kids, and my husband worked also, but you have 2 kids living in New York, and it's expensive. So I kind of just like literally, I went into the office the day I got laid off. I was on maternity leave, and so I was sitting there, and I was like, okay, who do I know? What do I like to do, and where can I go from here? And I kind of just made a list of all the different things that I know how to do and all the different people that I know. And I kind of just started calling around, and people started hiring me and be like, oh, the royal wedding's coming up. Can you be our royal wedding expert? Or, oh, we're trying to refix our website. Can you work on our website? And just all these little things started like coming up. And eventually I was like, you know what? I need to form, some sort of company so I can get paid. And then, and then I can bring in more clients and then, bring in a team. So when 3 people ask me to work on their website, I have other people who can do it because there's only so many hours in the day.
How important was that for you to realize that you needed to bring on a team? As you said, there's only so many hours. You can only do so much, but you don't necessarily want to turn down clients that you actually want to work with.
Right. I mean, I found it very difficult to like hire people, because then you're thinking like, okay, if they're making money for you, then you're making money, but you could make more money if you do it yourself. And, also then you have to think about like, are they contractors? Are they employees? You have to think of all those kinds of tax things. So I was really lucky that there were a group of people that I had worked with over the years in a freelance capacity at various places. So I was able to kind of work with them, and they all wanted to be just like contractors. Nobody wanted like a full-time job.
Right.
So it was great to be able to find people that, I knew I worked well with. I knew they had the skill set that I wanted, because even today, there's very few people that have the skill set that I'm looking for and that my clients are looking for, simply not because of like digital or social media. I mean, that's, everybody's like, a Pinterest expert these days, but within the wedding space, it's very, very specific. And so it was just, finding those right people, and then just creating kind of like a database, so that if somebody wanted social media help, I could call this person, or if somebody needed a copywriter, I could call that person. And I kind of feel like contractors in general, or freelancers in general, they all want to help each other. Lots of people reach out to me, hey, I heard about this opening or this maternity. Everybody's very supportive of each other. So, we all help each other so that, we can all succeed.
Now, even before starting your business formally starting your business in 2011, you've worked with so many other companies like Martha Stewart Weddings and Brides.com, where we didn't meet there. We actually met at iVillage.
iVillage, NBC Universal, yeah.
That's right. And also...
Gotta love the Village.
Gotta love the Village. And Vera Wang, you've also consulted with them for a long time. But how does one become a wedding guru? Do you feel like it's something, in your case, that you sort of, like you said, slid into or moved into just because of the way your career and everything was going?
I fell into it because I was dating a guy, and I knew I was going to marry him, and all my friends at Brooklyn College were all looking to get married. Everybody wanted their MRS degree, and and I just kind of like fell into this world. And, a lot of them just didn't want to work after that. They just wanted to get married and have kids, and that was their life. But I didn't want that. I always wanted to work. And so I think that I like a lot of areas. I like a lot of content areas. And I think weddings allowed me to do a little bit of fashion, a little bit of jewelry, a little bit of travel, a little bit of food. Like, it let me do so many things that I kind of just really enjoyed. And there was never a shortage of things to do. Like, you could write a story about it for a magazine. You could write, you could do a television segment. You could do, and I really learned a lot of that, how to repurpose content from my first job after college, which was at Martha Stewart. And back then, the wedding industry was not what it is today. There was one website, The Knot, and 3 or 4 magazines. And, now there's like 1 million blogs and all these other things. But, being able to, take a magazine story and translate it into a television story, or translate it into a radio show, or translate it into a newspaper column, like, I just really enjoyed that kind of, taking a story and organically placing it in a lot of different places.
And like you said, with weddings too, or covering weddings, it has so many different categories within that one space that you can do.
Yeah, you even have celebrity. You have, the designer element. I mean, you have people like Oscar. Well, Oscar's gone now, but we used to work with Oscar and Carolina Herrera and Vera Wang. And you have the celebrity brides. And then you have the royal weddings. I mean, there's so much about it. And also, it's just, yes, it's stressful, and there's lots of different players and emotions and money involved. But it's like weddings and babies. Like, it just brings a smile to someone's face. If someone tells you they got engaged, you don't go, oh, that sucks. You go, oh, congratulations.
Right.
So it's like, it's just a happy time, and it's just a happy thing to be part of.
Is
so
that
it's
what you
super
love about
fun.
it? Yeah, I was going to say, is that one of the things that you love about it? Because everyone should know you are the weddings person. I'm always sending you someone or asking you a question about weddings. I don't know anyone who loves it as much as you do. But is that what you love about it?
Yes, I want every couple, every person involved to just have the best day ever. Like, look, my dad almost canceled my wedding because I didn't want him to invite like his friends from the shul, like 30 more people. He's paying. What do I care? We got into a fight because I wanted 5 tiers. Like, this is the nonsense that you're arguing over. So, I mean, I just want to make sure everyone kind of like puts things in perspectives and has a great time with it, because it should be a fun process. Yes, there's anxiety and nonsense or whatever, but my goal is to make sure that everybody has like not just the best day ever, but like the whole experience from getting engaged till you come back from your honeymoon should just be just one long, just beaming smile period in your life.
I love that. Now, do you plan weddings also, or help people with their weddings as well?
No, I mean, what I'll do is, people call and either people I know or people I know who know someone or just strangers, and they'll email me a question and I'll answer questions and I'll make recommendations or something, but I don't get paid for any of that. It's not like I get a kickback for recommending such and such DJ. I just, I just love doing it. It's just making the referral for the fun of it. And, girls email me all the time. I'm trying to find a wedding dress. I don't know where to go. And I'll be like, okay, use my name and go to this place and they'll treat you right. And then they email me, they get so excited, they found their dress. And I'm just really happy that I can even touch on that one part of the whole process. I just want everyone to have a good time.
Is wedding planning, though, something that you're interested in at all? Because you certainly could do it, I think.
No, I don't. I like that I am one step removed, so I can tell a bride when she's being insane and tell her to go to apologize to her mother. I like that I don't have to rely on her check for that. Like, I want to be honest with people. I don't. And for friends, like, I'll answer questions for my cousin. Thank God YouTube did not exist yet. Like, I became like a DJ MC at her wedding, which was ridiculous. But I don't want to do that. I like being that one step removed. And
it's, more like a consultant. Wedding
consultant. Or like a friend, like your wedding friend. Like, people, people find me on Facebook. Hey, I haven't seen you since 1987, but I saw that you work in weddings and I'm engaged. Can you help me? And it's like, fine, I'll answer your questions. And then I never hear from them again once the wedding's over, which is fine.
Which you're okay with that.
Yeah, there's a reason we haven't spoken since 1987. But I'm more than happy to, answer questions and help people because most people are not planning events of this scale ever. There's tens of thousands of dollars involved. There's a lot of people involved and there's a lot of vendors involved. There's a lot of things that have to be done. So, if you've never done it before, I mean, throwing, a birthday bash at a bar is very different than throwing a wedding, whatever type of wedding you want. So I think people need to know that there's like some sounding board that they could talk to. And, unless your mother got remarried in the last 5 years, it's very different than what she did also. So I try to be that kind of like friend where I can be like completely honest and helpful and kind of help them with like resources and stuff like that they wouldn't know about because they've never done it before.
Right. Now, is that part of the reason that you founded twirlweddings.com, Twirl NYC, because you wanted to have a space where people could go to get that kind of information?
Yes. So Twirl is very highly focused on the New York tri-state area because weddings are local. You're not going to hire a DJ in Iowa if you're getting married in Texas. So the theory behind it is that we wanted to create a local resource where people can go and find information pertaining to weddings in their area. And then we're planning on growing it out in other major markets around the country. So the idea is you need local resources for your wedding. And it's actually, if, to get a little bit, economical about it, the whole business side of it, wedding magazines have been closing, like the national ones have been closing and the local ones are growing. So you're seeing like Modern Bride closed, Elegant Bride closed, Town and Country half closed their weddings this year, but you see growth in Charleston weddings, D weddings in Dallas, C weddings in California, Portland Bride and Groom in Oregon. So you see more of a growth in the local markets than you're seeing in the national markets.
Interesting. I didn't know that Modern Bride had closed.
Modern Bride and Elegant Bride closed October 9, I think.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of something recent. Oh, yeah. So that's a while ago.
No. Oh, yeah, no. Yeah. That's when I left. That's when we all left.
In 2000. Oh, yeah. Time goes so fast. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So the people are starting to realize, or I guess maybe is it because advertisers you think are starting to realize that the local market's where it is, or brides in general are looking more toward their local publications and outlets as opposed to the national books?
Well, a national book is going to charge 10 times as much as what a local book is going to charge advertising wise, and a DJ in New York doesn't need to be advertising in a national book. He would want to be regional anyway.
Right.
So, because there's no point in putting a full type page ad in unless you're, a national or like Scratch, which is a DJ based in New York, but they have, DJs all over the country. So, economically for the advertiser, it's a lot of money to advertise on a full page or any kind of page in a national book. So yes, and they can target to, regionals. So you'd only be in the regionals, but the local ones are more targeted. You can look at a beautiful, cake story in Brides and they'll have, a cake by, Ron Van Israel or Sylvia Weinstock or Maggie Austin in DC. But, how many people reading that are in New York or Washington, D.C. or flying their cake across the country? Not many. So if you're looking at a local book and you're like, okay, I'm based in Brooklyn, here's a cake by Betty's Bakery. Here's a cake by One Girl Cookies. Here's a cake by Ron Ben Israel. Like, all three are based in New York City.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Now, what will brides get on Twirl? Is this the kind of information they can find? Because I know I was looking at the site, and some of it is like, it's almost like a digital magazine.
Right. So we do both. So we do daily website updates, and we also do a twice a year now twice a year, it used to be quarterly, digital magazine. And it's all local content. So it's like flower ideas based from all sorts of different florists in the tri-state area. Or we also do on the website reviews. So what a lot of people don't realize is that when people are written up on websites for reviews, those are paid. The advertiser paid for those reviews. So it's pay to play. So we don't do that. Our reviews are 100% editorial. So we write like an essay with images on everything from venues to DJs to bakers. And it's because we've experienced working with them in some capacity. So we're not, if we write a review, it's not because someone paid us $125 a month to be up there. It's, and so we felt that was really important because just like with a lot of stuff, like Yelp, for example, like Yelp is a pay-to-play game. If you don't pay to play with Yelp, then you can't get those negative reviews to go down. There's a reason why the negative reviews are always on top. It's because if you pay them as a business, they'll take them down or at least allow you to, reach out to the consumer who wrote it. So it's a racket, but nobody knows that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Know that.
It's a racket. Oh my God. I know people who've called them and said, this isn't right. Like this person they're like, well, if you pay us, we'll take it down. Or, we'll give you the tools to access that person. So I find that, there's a lot of things that, consumers educate themselves, which is great, and doing research, which is wonderful. But there's other things out there that, you might not be aware of. So one of the things that was important to me was that if we're going to review people, we're going to review them because they're really good and not because they're check cleared.
Right. Oh, that's good. That's because that's the editorial side of you too.
I know it's not good for business.
But it's good for the brides. It's good for the brides. It's eventually good for business.
And we do advertising, and it'll say like dedicated or sponsored or something like that, or it's a traditional ad. But I felt it was really important that we differentiate ourselves by saying that we are, we're writing these views from an editorial perspective. And you can see it in the copy. When you look at a, sponsored or paid for like vendor recommendation, you can see the difference in the copy.
Mm-hmm. Now, what would you say are 3 things that you wish you knew before your own wedding? Because you've been married, 13 years now?
Yeah, 13 years.
Oh my God, I can't believe it.
Neither can
years. What are 3 things that you would say you wish you knew as a bride before your wedding day, as far as the wedding goes?
I wish that I had a better way to end the night. I wish we had a better, it was like literally like the last song and then that was it. And, there wasn't like a big, fireworks goodbye or sparklers goodbye or anything like that. It was just kind of like, it just ended. And then I literally remember sitting on the floor with my big ball gown dress all around me. And then that would be one thing. I wish we ended the night on a better note. I'm trying to think what else. I wish I would have spoken. I wish David and we were young. I was like 23 or 24 and he was a year older than me. So I wish that we would have, and we were one of the first of our friends to get married. So it's like, you don't really know these things until you go through a few seasons. I wish that we would have said something like thanked our parents and, thanked our, Martha Stewart Weddings. I was working there at the time. So they, helped me with the wedding a little bit. So
and your wedding was featured in Martha Stewart, right?
Yes, it was featured. I was a Martha Stewart bride and a Vera Wang bride. I'm like, the trifecta of like the princess bride.
Right.
And I think, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. There's all like little things, like I wish that I had taken certain photos with certain relatives, that I wish, but you don't necessarily, you don't realize that your grandfather is going to die in this next 6 months. So you don't,
right.
you
That's
take
not
some
something
pictures,
you could
but
know. Yeah.
No. So, but I think that like overall, like, we did enjoy the day and I made sure that David and I each wrote each other a letter and gave each other a note the morning of the wedding. And,
that's nice.
But we had more of like a traditional service, so we didn't write our own vows or anything like that. But I wish we would have said something. We did the dance lesson thing and all that. That was kind of fun. But it was, look, I look back and it's not like I regret anything. I mean, there are things I could have done differently, but that's, with time.
Right. Exactly. What are 3 bridal trends that you're loving right now? Are there any that you're really into and excited about? We're in August, so I guess we'd be thinking about fall.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think a lot of people, I mean, obviously personalization and customization has been, huge for years. But I think that the main thing that people are doing is I'm seeing a return to formality and tradition. I feel like for a little while there was a big push towards like the unconventional, and I think that that's super fun and everything. But I think there should still be some element of like traditionalness to it. Having the father-daughter dance, having the cake cutting. Like, even if you don't like cake, you have a cake cutting. But I think those are the big things. And I'm trying to think what else. But, otherwise, trends-wise, like, women are, buying dresses that they feel, like, really sexy in. They're getting a second dress, which I think is super fun.
And I saw pantsuits on your site, actually. I saw pantsuits are in now. Wedding pantsuits.
The truth of the matter is they're into the sense that designers are making them for the runway show and the editorial, but no one's actually putting them into production.
So people aren't buying them, or they don't think people will buy them.
They're not buying them in the volume or the quantity that you would need to put something into production.
Right.
It's like there are brides that are wearing them. Obviously, there are lesbian brides that are wearing them. I know Bernadette Smith, I think, had a whole suit collection specifically for them. But I think that, they're fine, like the jumpsuit, you see a lot of stuff and it's like, really, no one's really wearing that. Most people are buying an Elayne or a ball gown, strapless. Those sleeves are coming back. And, but I think that there's such a variety now with girls who really want to, show off and flaunt their figures no matter what, silhouette they are. And I think that that's wonderful. We're seeing like the tradition of lace, but done in a lot of modern ways.
Now, what's the greatest lesson having a business now that you've had it for a few years has taught you about yourself as a woman?
The one thing is that, everyone asks me like, you have 2 kids, you're married, it's like you have a business. I have 5 different jobs going on at once. How do you do it all? I have help, and not to sound like Sheryl Sandberg, but like, I have help.
Right.
I'm not afraid to ask.
What's your support network like? Yeah.
So we both grew up in Brooklyn. Both sets of parents are here. My grandmother's here. We had a nanny until my oldest kid was going to kindergarten full time. We have 2 or 3 babysitters that we use, after school. I have a somewhat flexible schedule. My husband, he doesn't work 5 days a week. So the days that he's off, he takes, care of the kids in the afternoon so that I don't have to take off of work. But I think the biggest farce is thinking you can have it all and do it yourself. Like you can have it all, but you have to ask for help. No one's going to assume, that you need it. Nobody's going to assume that, you don't need, the best takeout menus in town because, you're not cooking dinner every night for your kids. But I think that, for me, it's just knowing that I can to ask for help. And if you don't live near your families where you have like built-in babysitting from the grandparents or aunts, try to create a community, where you live. Create a community of, other parents who are working parents and, need help. Maybe there could be like a carpool kind of thing where it's like this day you take the kids after school. Like I think women, they don't have to be super mom. Right. They can be, but even Clark Kent had help every now and then. Superman. I don't know what Superwoman's actual name is, but like I think. Right. I think that that's the most important thing. Like I talk to students all the time and give them career advice. And one of them was like, how do you do it all? And I literally said, I have help.
Right.
You have to have help. Even the CEO has an assistant. Some of them have 2.
Right. Absolutely. I'm all about it. I love that. So I know you have to go. I know you have Rebecca Bell with you, your little one.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. One last question. If you think over your life and career and you had a chance to thank only one person whose support was critical to you personally or professionally, who would that be and what would you say?
I would thank David, my husband. We've been together since 1996 through all my colleges, all of his grad school colleges. I think he went to more grad schools than I went to colleges. And, he was and always has been super supportive of everything I've done. We leased a car and when he was in grad school, and we would drive down on Saturday so I could be on TV Sunday morning in Baltimore and then come up Sunday just because I enjoyed doing it. I didn't get paid for it, but I liked doing that. He agreed to live at home in my parents' house while he was in grad school while we were married so that I didn't have to live so far away from, you know, where my commute was. And, you know, with all the Michigas, you know, he's been extremely supportive, and I could never have done any of this without his help. I mean, yes, there's been mentors away, like Michelle, who you and I both worked with. Like, she's been an amazing mentor to me, and I've worked for her so many times over the years, but I don't think I could have done any of this without David's support over the last 20 years.
So last question before you go, how can we support you? What can we do to support you?
Well, anyone who knows anyone who's getting married, they could check out twirlweddings.com, or they could, you know, shoot me an email at ann@twirlweddings.com. I'm more than happy to help people, you know, no charge, to just help them with their wedding and just spread the word about this really great wedding resource. And that's pretty much it. You know, supporting me, you know, that's what I'm doing right now, is trying to grow the site and grow the business so we can, you know, expand and hire more people to write for the site. I hate asking people like, oh, do you want to write for free for credit? I hate doing that. And I think one person offered to do it and I turned them down. So, you know, the more traffic we get, the more, you know, I can hire people to work and give writers and art directors and photographers a chance to show their work.
I love that. Now, what's a parting piece of advice that you have for us before you guys go?
Be true to yourself. And I don't want to sound like one of those like Pinterest pins, but like you know, find something that you love to do and try to make that your career. I think you want to get up to go to work in the morning. You know, whatever it is, whether you like being a lawyer or an accountant or a stylist or a garbage man, whatever you like to do, teaching, you know, fireman, policeman, whatever you like to do, just if you don't like going to work in the morning because, you know, your boss sucks or you just hate your job, and I think that you should find another thing to do. Life is too short, and you spend too much time of your your life working. That you should do something that you love, and you know, maybe you have to sacrifice your daily Starbucks or something like that. But right. I think, you know, or walk to work instead of taking the sun. You know, I think that that's the most important thing. You have to love what you do. You know, the main thing is just enjoy yourself, because you're here once.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I know I said this before, and I just love that you always show up for me, and can't wait to go to brunch with you and get together again and just talk shop and whatever else.
I would love that. Send me some dates, because I think we're sort of neighbors.
Sort of.
But yeah, whatever I can do to support you and whatever you're doing, you let me know and I'll do it.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye, sweetie.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Thank you so much for listening to that episode of the Support is Sexy podcast. And I do hope that you got some inspiration from it. And the challenge is for you to do at least one thing. Take one thing from the episode, at least one thing. You can always do more, but at least one thing that will help you move one step closer to your dream. Whether that's launching a business, writing a book, whatever that thing is that you want to do, take something from this episode and move one step closer. And what I'll also ask of you, if you can tell me what you think about the episodes, what we've been doing, what you want to hear, what you like, what you experience while you're listening, go over to iTunes, leave us a review, and let me know what's going on. What are you thinking? What are you feeling about the show? What else can I do to be of service to you, which is what this is all about, to be of support to you. That's our buzzword, right? You can also go to my website, elaynefluker.com/podcast. So that's ELAYNEFLUKER.com/podcast. Hear more episodes there. Also have a bunch of great videos, tons of information. It's where I'm going to be spending a lot of time, and it's where I'd love to connect with you. So again, thank you so much for listening. I truly appreciate you and your support. And the most important thing I want you to remember is having it all does not mean doing it all alone. So now, go out there and create something sexy, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.